In today's video, I'm going to be showing with you how to draft a short pant pattern. Hi guys, welcome back again to my channel Link Preferred. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how to draft a short pant pattern, and I promise you this is going to be one of the easiest pattern making of a short pant you've ever come across. Just sit back, grab yourself a popcorn, relax and enjoy watching this tutorial. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Alright, so as you can see, I already have my horizontal line and my vertical line, which is going to serve as my starting point. Now I'm going ahead to label that my waistline because my measurement is going to start from that very point all the way down. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to take my waist to hip measurement. In my case it is 8 inches, so I'm going to be placing my tape right there on my waistline. Then I'll mark 8 inches like that. Then I'll go ahead to mark the 8 inches on that other side, just to enable me get a straight line. Now that is done, the next measurement is going to be my crotch. To get my crotch line, to get your crotch measurement, just sit on a flat surface and measure from your waist to the flat surface, and that is how to get your crotch measurement. So in my case it is 9 inches. I'm going ahead to mark the 9 inches like so, and then after that I'll connect with a horizontal line. Now I'm going ahead to label that my hip line. That's my hip line, and the other line is my crotch line. All right, now we're going to be taking our thigh measurement. The thigh measurement is usually 3 inches below the crotch line, so I'm going ahead to mark my 3 inches for my thigh. I'll mark it that way and then also connect with a straight line. When that is done, I'm going to label that my thigh line. All right, so the next measurement is going to be our pant full length. You remember this is a short pant, so the full length of this pant is 18 inches. So I'm going to be minusing 2 inches from the 18 inches for the band. Okay, so by the time we add our band to the waist, we are still going to have our exact 18 inches. So I'm just going to deduct 2 inches from my 18 inches. I'll be left with 16 inches. I'm going ahead to mark the 16 inches right there. Okay, and then I'll mark the 16 inches over there again. I will go ahead again and connect with a straight line. Yeah, I will label that my full length or my whatever thing you want to label, they just label it. Okay, so I'm going down by 2 inches again. I labeled that my full length. Okay, so I'll go down by 2 inches again, which is going to be for folding. Okay, that 2 inches is going to be for folding. All right, so now that is done, it is time to transfer our other measurement back to my hip line. Take your hip circumference, divide it by 4 and then add 0.25 for ease allowance. All right, in my case it is 9.5. I'm going ahead to mark the 9.5 on my hip line. Then I'll transfer the same measurement on my crotch line again. I'll mark the 9.5 again on my crotch line like that. Then back to my waistline, I'm going to mark the same measurement on my waistline. All right, so I'm going to connect the points with a straight line. Now that is done, we are going to be taking our waist measurement. Take your waist circumference, divide it by 4 and then add 0.25 ease allowance. Then also add 1 inch to it. For that, my waist circumference divided by 4 plus 0.25 is allowance is giving me 8.25. So I'm going to add 1 inch to it, which would be 9.25 for my dart. The 1 inch is for that. So you're going to start your waist measurement from that point. Okay, start it from that very point. I'm going to mark the 9.25 from there, like that. By the time you fold in your dart, you're going to still have your exact waist measurement. So when that is done, I'm going to be connecting that point back to my hip line. Okay, so the next measurement is going to be our crotch. We're going to be getting our crotch for the front panel. You know, this is the front panel. So you remember this measurement from here to here. Just divide that measurement by 4 and place it from here. Divide it by 4 and place it right from that point outward. Okay, in my case it is 2.3, so I marked the 2.3 like that. From that point I marked it outward like that, and then I extended the line. So this is going to be my crotch for the front. So you're going to be curving it. In order not to make the curve too deep, on your hip line just go out by half of an inch. I'm going out by half of an inch. So I'm going to be placing my curve ruler like that. Okay, so I wouldn't curve or make the curve too deep. See the way I placed my ruler, making sure the points are touching the ruler. So I made my curve like that. Now we've achieved the curve for the front panel. The next thing is to get the center line of this pant. We're going to measure from here to that point. Okay, I'm going to be getting the midpoint from that point to that other point. Now I've gotten the midpoint, I'm going to transfer that measurement again to the I will transfer it to the hip line. Okay, I'll go to my waistline. I'll start from the very first line. I'll mark the same measurement there. Okay, so I'll go to my thigh line. I'll do the same thing. On the full length I'll do the same thing, and then I'll mark with a straight line. Remember, this measurement is found on the crotch line. Okay, just take your crotch line, the whole measurement there on your crotch line, and get the midpoint. That's how we achieved this measurement. So this is going to be our center line. Now the next measurement is going to be our thigh measurement. Take your round thigh measurement and divide it by 2 and place the measurement on both sides of that center line. My round thigh measurement is 23. 23 divided by 2 is going to give me 11.5. So I'm going to be folding my tape into 2 on the 11.5, like that. Fold it into 2, then place the folded line on that center line, you know, basically just to mark out that measurement on both sides of the pattern. If that makes sense. I just hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Then after that I'm going to extend that line. So I'm going to be doing the same on my full length. That place you want your pants to stop, just go there and take the round measurement of that particular place. When you do, divide it by 2 and then divide it again by 2 using your tape. When you do that, place the folded edge of your tape right on the center line and mark out the measurements on both sides of the line, on both sides of your pants. If that makes sense. So I'm going to be extending that line like that. I'm going to take the same measurement on the last line. Okay, I'll take the same measurement there. So I'm just going to place that folded edge on that place, you know, just to get the measurement on both sides of the line. All right, so now that is done, I'm going to be connecting all those points together. Okay, like that. Just connect the points together, okay? Now the next thing is to be getting our dart, okay? We're going to get our darts now for the front panel. What I'm going to be doing next is to go back to my waistline. I'm going to take half an inch on both sides of that line. Take half an inch on both sides of the center line. Then on the center line, you're going to go down by 4 inches. All right, and then connect the lines together like that. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to add 1 inch seam allowance all around the pattern. So now I'm done doing that. I'm also going to be adding my seam allowance on the waistline, 1 inch seam allowance on the waistline. Then after that, I'm going to be duplicating this on another paper. If you have a tracing paper, it's easier for you to duplicate. If you're using a cardboard paper, you just have to draft this again. And remember, if you're duplicating this, you don't have to add the seam allowance. This is the back panel. I drafted it out again without adding the seam allowance. So if you're using a tracing paper, just trace it out, trace out your measurement alone without the seam allowance, and make sure you have some space up there. You're going to be making use of that space later. All right, so I'm going to set the back panel aside and then continue with the front panel. Remember, you're not going to add your seam allowance to the back when you are duplicating it, okay? So back to the front panel, I'm going ahead to cut out that shape like that. Right now I'm done cutting out the shape. I'm just going to set it aside. First, I'm going to label it my front panel. Okay, so that is that is 1 NPANEL, yeah, front panel. So back to the back panel now. And remember our lines, this is our waistline, hip line, crotch line. I just want to label this, just to make sure you're on track with me. Then my hemming line or my foot length. Okay, now that is done, the next thing I'm going to be doing is to extend my crotch line by 2 inches. Mark out 2 inches, okay, on the crotch line, or 1.5 inches. For me, I did 1.5 inches, but you can do 2 inches if you want. Then on that point, I went down by half of an inch. We're going to make use of that point later. So now you remember this measurement from here to here, from here to here. So I'm going to take that measurement, I'm going to transfer it up there. That point you're seeing there is the midpoint of that. So I'm going to transfer that measurement directly opposite that point. Okay, that point you're seeing there, I'm sorry my camera didn't capture it, is the point from the center line to the crotch line. Okay, that's the midpoint from that center line out there to that line on that crotch, that side. Okay, so I'm just going to curve out my crotch for the back like that. So, and the next thing I'm going to be doing is to take my waist measurement. So you remember our waist measurement from here to here, from that point to that point, to that point there. I'm going to take that measurement. Just look at it from here to here, it's the same measurement. Okay, so I'm going to take that measurement, I'm going to transfer it to that other line. That is going to be our new waistline for the back panel. I'm going to transfer it in a, mark it in a slant way like that, because the back trouser or back pant is not usually straight. Okay, so I'm just going to mark it like that and then connect it with a straight line. Now that is done, the next thing is to create our dart for the back. So I'm going to take this measurement from here to here. This is the place I was telling you earlier that I marked the midpoint. So I'm going to take the measurement there. I'll transfer it to the new waistline. I'll mark it there. Okay, then I'm going to be taking half of an inch on both sides of that line, you know, just to create my dart for the back panel. Take half of an inch on both sides of the line and then go down by 5 inches. You don't need to go down straight. Okay, you're going to, don't go down straight, just go down in a slant way, making sure your dart leg is touching the center line. That is the way it should be. So I'm going down by 5 inches. I'm going to mark it out like that. After marking it out, I'm going to connect the lines to form my dart. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to add 1 inch on the tie line. Okay, and then add 1 inch on the full length. Also add 1 inch on that other side. You don't have to add on the crotch line. On that other side, do the same thing. Then after that, connect the lines together. Okay, just connect the lines together. After that, go ahead and add 1 inch seam allowance all around the pattern and then connect the lines as well, and that will be the end of the back panel. So after that, I'm going to connect the lines together and then cut out that shape. So as you can see, this is what it is looking like. I'm going ahead to label that my back panel or back trouser, whichever one. So now this is the front panel. As you can see, the waistline of the front and back, they are still equal. Okay, just that the back panel is a little bit longer. Look at that, because that is the way it should be. The back trouser is always longer than the front trouser. So now we are going to be cutting the band. So I'm grabbing another paper and I'm going to measure my waist. Take my round waist measurement. I'm going to measure it there. As you can see, I marked out a line there, which is going to, you know, serve as my starting point or to make me get a straight measurement. So I'm marking my waist measurement there, my round waist measurement there, and I'm going to mark it out like that. Okay, remember our band is supposed to be 2 inches, so I'm going to be taking 2 inches like that. I'm going to be taking 2 inches there. After that, I'm going to connect with a straight line. So I'm going to be connecting with a straight line. So now that is done, I'm going to be getting rid of that part because it's useless there in order not to get confused. Okay, so I'm going to be adding 2 inches on that side, just for it's for overlapping. Okay, when you want to fold in your band, that 2 inches will serve as the overlapping. Okay, so I added 2 inches there, 1 inch for the other side and 1 inch for this other side, for this side. Okay, then I'm going to connect it with the line. So next I'm going to add half of an inch all around it. This half of an inch is for sewing. So when I'm done adding that, I'm going to connect it with a straight line. As you can see, you notice that I didn't add seam allowance on that other side because that place is going to be on fold when you start cutting your fabric. Next, I'm going to determine the center point of my belt or my band. I'm going to mark out the center line, which is somewhere there. So I'm going to mark it out like that and then give it this dot, just to remind me that this is my center line and I'm supposed to notch it. So that will be the end of this video. Now go ahead and cut out your belt. Okay, and so that is all. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to subscribe, share. See you in my next video. Bye.